I'd like to call to order the regular meeting of the Board of Education, Tuesday, October 26, 2014 at 7 o'clock p.m. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Blakely.
Yes.
Gaspar.
Here.
Hodge.
Here.
Impastato.
Here.
Locke.
Here.
Stoops.
Here.
Dremel.
Here. Mrs. Locke, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are there any changes to tonight's agenda?
There are, under agenda item number 9, it was a closed session, and number 10, action on closed session, the approval of the lease agreement for 804 Main Street. If you look at the agenda item, it said that we would be approving it pending attorney review and approval of specific documents that we are waiting for. We're still waiting on a couple documents that need to be reviewed, so we're going to delay that vote until we have all the documents.
Okay.
So we will be pulling agendas items 9 and 10 and postponing them to another meeting.
So, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the 2 changes that Dr. Hitchens gave us?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gaspar, second by Impastato. Kathy, would you call the roll?
Blakely.
Yes.
Gaspar.
Yes.
Hodge.
Yes.
Impastato.
Yes.
Locke.
Yes.
Stoops.
Yes.
Dremel.
Yes. Next, we'll be moving on to public comments. If anyone wishes to address the board this evening under public comments, please see our recording secretary, Kathy Scafidi. She will give you one of the pink forms that has our board policy for addressing the board. Please put your full name and address on the form, as we are required by state law to keep a full, detailed set of minutes for our meetings. If you would prefer to provide comments for the entire board in written form, Mrs. Scafidi has a blue form that she can give you. When you address the Board of Education or Administration will not enter into dialogue on an issue. That doesn't mean we don't take your issues seriously. If you have unanswered questions, a board member or an administrator will get back to you regarding your matter at a later date. If you have any props or visual aids that you would like to use, please have those reviewed by Dr. Hitchens, our board elected secretary, prior to presenting to the board. We ask everyone that addresses the board to please come to the table so that you can be heard. Kathy, do we have all the pink sheets tonight?
To my knowledge, yes.
All right. At this point, if anyone else would like to address the board, we ask you to please fill out a blue sheet, and Kathy Scafidi will make sure that all the board members will get a copy of it. The first person I'd like to invite up is Joe Marconi. Oh, that's fine. That's perfect. Whatever works for you.
7 years ago, the city of Batavia issued $240 million worth of revenue bonds. And for that $240 million, they got 13% of Prairie State Electric, which is the dirtiest and the longest and the dirtiest, filthiest carbon dioxide and sulfur in the state of Illinois. Even though we did not receive anything for our $240 million investment yet. I think that if had I not hired an attorney to represent myself and a group of other guys, we never would have found out about the $240 million bond issue. They kept it a secret from all of us. I never knew it. I didn't know it until I hired an attorney, and he got this all from the Freedom of Information Act. All we're doing, June, show me that. What we're doing is we are trying to solicit as many. We're going to have sign-up stations throughout the city, and we want them to sign up as plaintiffs so that we could have a good class action lawsuit. Now, our lawyer is pro bono, and he has won many, many civil cases such as ours. In fact, he even at one time represented the Teachers Association. And he was a very, very, very successful lawyer. We here do not want to do any harm to the city of Batavia. Batavia is not a defendant in this case. Who we're suing mainly are the people that gave us advice for $1,800,000. Now, when they gave us that advice, Prairie State said you're in or you're out, because if you're out, you're going to have to pay the $1,800,000. So we didn't know when to hold them or when to fold them. So what we did was fold them for $1,800,000. Last year, we didn't use enough electricity, so we had to pay $1 million. We had to pay another $1 million this year. Our $1 million each year is going to dry up. And when that dries up, the school board here is going to be in a lot of trouble. So we're trying to help you. You pay $1 million for this electricity. Why should you be paying $1 million for this electricity? When Suncast, they gave them $7.5 million to stay, and it's a domino effect because people are not staying in Batavia. They're moving out to Carroll Stream, Naperville, and then through there where the electricity and their taxes are all cheaper, except ours. You know, you have to be a good spectator in life. My sister, who was a very, very high person in Macy's, and she was a merchandise manager and everything else. And she went to England and London one day, and she saw all the girls wearing those small mini skirts. And she came back here, and she said, this is the way to go, and told all the manufacturers, give me as many as you can, as much as you can, and I'm going to buy them, with the whole chain's going to buy them. In life, one must be a good spectator. And you have to be a good spectator in Batavia, because if you're a good spectator in Batavia, you'll see all these elderly people selling their homes. Has there ever been 70 homes on the market before? This is-
Tony, your point is that you've got this lawsuit,
Yes.
you want to inform the public about it, correct? And you're inviting people to come and join you in it?
Right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you
I
very
really
much.
appreciate you addressing
Okay.
this. Thank you.
I appreciate you giving me time to talk. Thank you.
Yvonne Dinwiddie?
Thank you.
I'm glad you put off the information about 804, because I've done a little bit of homework. It's been brought to my attention that the school district is discussing the leasing of a building owned by former school board president Ronald A. Link through his manufacturing firm, Van Deventer Manufacturing Company. He's the president of the company. The building is located at 804 Main Street and was or is one of two buildings listed on the tax rolls as 804 and 812 Main Street. That address is listed to Van D Manufacturing Corporation, Inc. And according to the internet, the company employs or employed anywhere from 10 to 44 persons. The property listed on the tax rolls at a net value of $245,446, and the current taxes, of which Batavia School District gets the lion's share, are listed as $23,575.62. The property in the Main Street corridor, and that's on the west side, is currently being considered for redevelopment by the city of Batavia and might be included in a TIF district, which would not be good for the citizens of Batavia or the school district. What is worse, my understanding is that the school district is considering a lease agreement with Mr. Lee in the amount of $12,000 a month for 10 or to 20 years, and depending upon the agreement, could guarantee a windfall for Mr. Link if the lease is a lease to own for this property at 804 Main Street to house a maintenance building for the school district. As I see it, it is a real double, triple whammy for the Batavia School District taxpayers. First of all, the school district already has a maintenance building on school property, one that could be repaired for, as I understand it, $134,000 plus or minus. The property proposed for lease will require investment to make it ready for the school district to move in, and then, it is my understanding, will require about $1.4 million investment to build to suit. The property proposed for lease will require I already said that. Already the lease, if approved, will cost the citizens of Batavia an additional $144,000 per year. So that it would be more prudent to maintain the existing building instead of leasing, not to mention the proximity to the high school. Van D Manufacturing was founded in 1946 and it has been housed at the current location since then. The buildings are certainly much older than the current school district owned maintenance building. Where is the inspection report for the building? Has there been any question as to whether or not the processes used in that building during its tenure as a manufacturing firm have any hazardous contaminants like asbestos, etc.? There are other properties in Batavia that formerly housed manufacturing facilities, and those properties remain undeveloped today because there are questions about remediation of the contaminants. At least that has been the excuse for the lack of redevelopment to the sites. Additionally, since the property is being considered for a TIF district, TIF districts are notoriously disadvantageous to the school district in Batavia. There is only one TIF that has really paid off to the citizens of Batavia, and that's the Aurora Outlet Mall. And the school district has already decided to give additional concessions of tax dollars to Aurora Outlet Mall expansion. No matter how you look at it, anytime there's a TIF district, the citizens have to make up for the loss in tax revenues until the TIF is complete, and by then, at the rate we're going, the town will either be bankrupt or the majority of the citizens who have paid for the loss will have moved, are deceased, or, as in our case, will have seen continuous tax increases until we can no longer afford to live in Batavia. If the school district decides to lease the property at 804 Main Street and pays for the improvements to it, then we are enriching a former school board president, increasing the value of his property at taxpayer expense, and because of the duration of the lease and the proposed redevelopment of the area, ensuring that the property will be maintained at taxpayers' expense and can later be sold at a substantial profit should the redevelopment of the area work. Whether it works or not, we will be ensuring that Mr. Link's property suffers no loss, as he will be guaranteed rent to the tune of $144,000 per year. Meanwhile, other building owners are struggling to find renters. We, the taxpayers, will assume the risk while he receives the rewards. And what of Van D Manufacturing? Is that company out of business? What happens to the people who are or were employed there? When I tried to call Van D Manufacturing this afternoon, the phone rang over 10 times, and then the message said, "The mailbox for Van D Manufacturing is full and cannot receive any messages. Please try again later." Is Van D Manufacturing a shell corporation? When something appears to be a sweetheart deal, especially for a former school board president, it really smacks of impropriety and insider trading. I consider it unethical, as well as it gives the appearance of not being an arm's length transaction. We taxpayers are being asked to approve a $15 million referendum, which means that bonds and bond interest can be taxed to the taxpayers without limit to pay for the bonds if the referendum is approved.
This is
So
we've
much-
gone about 6 minutes. Can you summarize for us what the
I'm almost finished. So much for the lie that approval would not raise taxes. Part of the reason for wanting a different maintenance building, I'm sure, is because the school district wants to use the current maintenance area in the redevelopment of the athletic field area. So not only does this whole deal stink really rotten, it seems that all these questions about the suitability of maintaining the existing building are at the very least manufactured so as to facilitate the desires of building the athletic field. Look at the building at 804 Main Street. Does it really look like it's in better shape than our current maintenance building on Wilson Street? And I can tell you it doesn't. There are broken windows, there needs to be some tuck pointing done. We checked. Citizens are drowning under the burden of real estate taxes and electric rates and other government fees, and we can ill afford to waste what resources we have on play pretties for the school district and athletics that a limited number of students can participate in. We need to concentrate on educating our children in the STEM fields and ensure that they understand finance and responsibility and, yes, of course, taxes. When will our school board develop some backbone and challenge the reports from the administration and listen to the citizens of Batavia who are funding all these wants instead of needs? Thank you.
Thank you. Sylvia Couple?
I realize that signing the lease for Ron Link's building is probably a done deal since there's no more public discussion on the matter, but I do wish you would be honest and come right out and say why you won't consider a $135,000 fix on the current building and instead want to spend millions on a new one. You need to stop hiding behind the excuse that the current building is nearing the end of its life cycle, as no one can tell me why they think the building will self-destruct in 51.6 years. And though you may jest at the extended metaphor that I had emailed, I hope that maybe some on the board would have gotten the point that estimates of a building's life expectancy are not absolutes. The excuse that the current building was not originally designed to be a maintenance building doesn't hold water either. Mr. Link's building was not designed to be a maintenance building, but suddenly you are willing to spend $1.5 million to make it into one. Sure, the moving cost is just $424,000, but the rest will come later. And that doesn't even include the $1.5 million lease. You can stop making excuses because I found the answer myself in the June 24th regular meeting agenda regarding the current maintenance building. It reads, quote, because the board's long-range vision has been to eventually repurpose the space for parking, more in-depth analysis of the building's needs has not been conducted. Why even look into the soundness of a building that you want to tear down? I get it. Just don't tell me the building we currently own is not sound when you have no idea if it's true. Regarding the $15 million project list, please, members of the school board, think. Keep asking questions and don't stop till you get the answers you want, especially when millions of taxpayer dollars are at stake. I find it disturbing to hear you echoing sentiments that have not been well thought out. At this afternoon's meeting, I heard the sentiment that it was very important to get all the high school teams practicing again on the high school campus, even to the point where you might even be considering the second artificial turf field. I wanted to shout, why? The teams exist, they have space to practice, they are making good use of other district property. In fact, I applaud the district for being resourceful and making best use of all the property it has. Why is it important that the teams practice at the high school? Sports are extracurricular activities. If my child dances, she practices off campus. If my child swims, he practices off campus. If my child bowls or plays ice hockey or does archery, it will be off campus. There's nothing wrong with practicing off campus. We don't need to bring every sports team to practice on campus when there is space available elsewhere. Please, think. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite the BESPA president or a representative from BESPA if they're here tonight. They read a lengthy meeting earlier, I think they come. How about Amy Carey, the EA acting president?
Good evening. Hello. First off, I just wanted to say we are very excited and happy to be back at school, meeting all our new kids and starting the year. And I just have a few things on my list. One, this I'm sure you've heard before, but the IEA has endorsed Quinn for the gubernatorial race, mostly because Quinn is a more pro-public education candidate and Trauner is pretty pro-charter schools. The other things that are going on more locally, we're really excited this year. Brad Newkirk and I are co-chairs of the appraisal committee, and he has very generously offered to include all of the BEA appraisal consultants on all of the evaluator trainings that happen this year. So it's a really nice opportunity for us to see all of the training that the evaluators get and for us to be on the same page with that. So we're excited for that opportunity. And lastly, we did reach a tentative agreement on our contract. We presented it to our members yesterday and we vote on it tomorrow. So we should have some definite information soon. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Amy. Before I move on to student ambassador comments, which I seem to have forgotten like the last 3 meetings, Greg Hodge is going to swear in our newest student ambassador, Samantha Bradles. So if you want to join her right up here, Sam? Okay. You didn't know you'd have to perform for the group, did you?
I didn't. It's okay.
That's all right.
Because you want you to stand right where the lights are.
Yeah, right in your eye. It is old, so I guess you have to raise your right hand. I'll turn this way so the others can see. Okay? I, Samantha Bradle,
I, Samantha Bradle,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the student ambassador,
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the student ambassador
of the Board of Education
of the Board of Education
of Batavia Community Unit School,
of Batavia Community Unit School,
District 101,
District 101,
in accordance with
in accordance with
the policies of the Board of Education.
the policies of the Board of Education.
I further swear that
I further swear that
I shall encourage
I shall encourage
and respect
and respect
the free expression
the free expression
of opinion
of
myself
myself
and board members
and board members
and others who seek
and others who seek
a hearing before the board.
a hearing before the board.
Congratulations, welcome.
Okay, so now we'll turn it over to our student ambassadors to tell us what's going on.
Excellent. First off, welcome. It's a fun job. Second, school is back in full swing. Everything has gotten underway, and so not too much news yet, but we have a few topics that we're going to look into that we're very interested in. Right? Obviously, it's huge, the introduction to the Chromebooks. Very new, very different type of classroom, at least that I've experienced so far, and we're going to try and get feedback on how students are liking that, not liking it, and what their thoughts are about that. And also, this week we implemented the Bulldog Hour, where students can have an hour during the day in which they can eat lunch, but also they can go around to any point in the building and visit a teacher that they might need help from. This helps students who are very busy after school or before school, and actually gives them an opportunity to have free time to go and get help in the subjects they need. And last but not least, open house is on Thursday, so parents, you can visit and learn about all the wonderful things your children are learning. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. You guys want to say something? All right, thank you. Moving on, we're going to be talking about celebrating successes. Tonight we have some people joining us to talk about the BPS Hall of Honor. Ann Phillips and Spitz. She's not joining the conversation.
On behalf of the Batavia Foundation for Educational Excellence and the Batavia Public Schools Hall of Honor Committee, I would like to say that we are happy to be here tonight. We are here to tell you a little bit about the Hall of Honor and to appeal to all of you for your help. Over a year ago, the Foundation embraced the idea of establishing a way to recognize Batavia alumni, Batavia Public Schools staff, and dedicated volunteer friends, and the Hall of Honor was born. Alumni who have graduated at least 15 years ago and who have made significant contributions to society in the areas of academics, business, literary, professional, scientific, medical, arts, athletics, community service, public service, and service to our country will be considered. By recognizing alumni with notable success, we will be celebrating what has been accomplished as a result of the quality of education received in the Batavia Public Schools, connecting alumni back to the community, highlighting career development for our students, and providing an archival history of the district. A committee of representatives from the community at large, the Board of Education, BPS staff, Bulldog boosters, music buffs, studio, stage, as well as the foundation have been working to lay this groundwork. And now we are enlisting the help of the entire community to find those to honor. We are accepting nominations until February 1st, 2015. The Hall of Honor Committee will review the nominations, selecting 10 alumni, 2 staff, and 2 friends, and notify these inductees April 1st, 2015. We're planning an inaugural ceremony for the fall of 2015 and the permanent display will be located in the main hallway of Batavia High School. Nomination forms and additional information are available at our website, bps101.net/Hall of Honor. And we have some handouts tonight that the audience is welcome to take with you, and we're very eager and excited to get this started. People that are serving on our Hall of Honor committee are Joanne Smith, the high school principal, Lisa Hitchens, the superintendent, Greg Hodge is our Board of Education representative, Joanne and I are both representing the foundation. Carla Hill was here a little bit earlier. She's representing the Historical Society and the Batavia Park District, and a total of 15 people that have put a lot of effort into this so far, and we're excited to get it off the ground. But we need nominations, and that's where we're going to be reaching out to you tonight and many community groups to get these nominations submitted by February 1st.
So spread the word, tell people, nominate people. More than one person can nominate the same person.
And nominations made by February 1st that don't make that first year cut, because we're expecting many nominations. We hope we'll have many nominations because we know there's been a great deal of success from Batavia graduates. So those nominations, if they're submitted, we will be keeping them and reconsidering them the next year, and so on. So.
And we're also going to honor 2 staff members who've given service for more than 10 years and community volunteers.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Joanne. I would like to now invite Mrs. Smith, principal of Batavia High School, to come up and talk to us about Ben.
So come on down, Ben. This is Ben Higna. He is a Batavia High School student. And he has a pretty cool story. So Ben is 16 years old and got a 36 on his ACT this spring. In addition, when Ben was a freshman, he scored a perfect 800 on the math portion of the SAT. He also this past year got a 5 on his AP Calculus test and a 5 on his AP English Language test. So he is a rock star. I did say he was 16. That's because he was moved up when he was in kindergarten. So he is really accelerated in more ways than one. But also he is on our track team, and he plays in the band. So he's a well-rounded individual. He also volunteers at our Batavia Fine Arts Center and with Feed My Starving Children. And he is a graduate of Hooverwood and Rotolo. So this is Ben. So Ben, tell us about your future plans, because you're still at Batavia High School, of course. So you'll be taking full advantage of Bulldog Hour and all those things.
Oh, yeah. I still have another long year to go, so there's going to be a lot to do. Applications, last season of track, last jazz band, normal band, whatever you want. I mean, it's the last year, and it feels like I should have like 5 more years, but I don't, and I feel like I'm going to have a lot to make of this year. It's senior year. I'm going to do the best I can just to finish this off strong and then take it into college, hopefully Ivy League, but if it's not, I've got plenty of other schools that I'd be very happy at too.
What do you want to study then?
Biomedical engineering.
Great, just an easy thing.
So someone who gets a 36 when they're a junior, does that mean you get to take an easy schedule when you're a senior, or tell us what your schedule is?
5 AP classes, so.
Piece of cake.
Of course, Ben.
Thank you.
It's always nice Okay, moving on, we are going to move forward to our consent agenda. The consent agenda is a method of streamlining our meetings by taking one vote on a number of routine personnel and business items. Each of the items is detailed in the agenda and has been appropriately posted in the board packet. And Mr. Pierce, would you please read the consent agenda?
Yeah, and you get to hear the great news about Ben, followed by the consent agenda. It doesn't get much better than that, right? 5.1 through 5.7 is the approval of our minutes from our different meetings on July 23rd, 29th, and August 12th. 5.8 is the review of closed session minutes. 5.9 is our monthly personnel report, which includes a lot of new hires as you look through that, as well as some resignations and some leaves. 5.10 is our bill sign and invoice journal summary. 5.11, we have our 4 different treasurer reports. 5.12, we have 2 FOIA requests on display. 5.13 is the annual approval for our application for recognition of schools through the Iowa system. 5.14 is getting rid of some surplus items. We're donating several books to a scarce rescue program in Glen Ellen. We're also taking a lot of different metal items from our buildings, and we're selling them as getting value for them in scrap metal weight. And then finally, we have waiting for the approval for the AP biology book that's been on display both here at Central Office and over at Batavia High School.
Does anyone have anything,
Question.
thank you, I'm sorry. I
I
didn't get
just,
there yet to my,
I'm just curious on, was there any record keeping on how many people came in to view the textbooks?
There was
0 at the high school?
0.
I know I looked at this one over here.
did you make count?
You didn't leave a comment.
I'm sorry?
You didn't leave a comment.
There were no comments left.
It was heavy.
Okay, I was just wondering, okay.
So are there any items on the consent agenda that we need to clarify or anyone for removal? No questions, no clarifications? Okay, then do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Impastato, second by Stoops. Kathy, would you call the roll, please?
Blakely,
Yes.
Gaspar,
Yes.
Hodge,
Yes.
Impastato,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Stoops,
Yes.
Dremel.
Yes. Under item 6.1, Dr. Mann, I know we had a lengthy conversation about this at the Finance Committee today, and the full board was there for most of the meeting, but can you please just give us a recap of the direction that we gave you to make sure that the entire board has clarity on that?
Sure. Like you said, the entire board was present at the committee of the whole Finance Committee meeting today. And we did review a sample list of projects, both the one that had been presented on August 12th and then a slightly updated list that removed improvements at a proposed maintenance facility and replaced it with other projects. But then the board engaged in some good dialogue about what type of projects and what type of formatting would you like to see this list in. So what we took away from that in terms of the direction that you'd like to see us go forward is to bring back for the district-wide capital improvements, bring back options that focus solely on the highest priority items, in addition to improving the formatting that lists them high, medium, and then low, rather than scattered as they were. And in terms of the athletic field improvements, the direction we heard was, in addition to the list that's out there that pretty much goes after the north side of the improvements, also explore options where we would bring back the most kids possible, which could include a second turf field or some other configuration. So those are the options that we will begin working on. We've already got a meeting set up tomorrow morning to begin sketching those out, and we will bring those back to you at the next board meeting.
All right, thanks. Any questions from the board on that? Everybody comfortable with where our discussion took us today? Okay, then item 6.2, I believe, is also under Dr. Mann, the Batavia increment financing TIF extension for number 3.
Yes, as you can see in board docs that the board received a request from the city of Batavia asking for the district's support of extending TIF number 3 for an additional 12 years, which would take that out to 2039. So we wanted to bring this to see what other types of information you may need to have. We included both the most recent annual report for TIF number 3 in addition to the letter. You can see that TIF number 3 has a base EAV of just over 11.2 million. So it has grown slightly up to 14 million over the life of the TIF so far. So there is we believe about $66,000 of increment that the school district would currently be getting were that property back on the tax rolls. So this extension would be asking you to forego receiving that increment from 2027 to 2039. So there is a financial implication to that. However, when TIFs go well, they do improve the overall property value of the area and should be a benefit to the taxing bodies that they are within. So brought this for a discussion and to find out what other information you may need before you decide if you'd like to support this.
I would need to know why they need to extend it. I didn't find the letter from the mayor to be very informative. I found it to be a bit vague. I mean, they're going out significantly. I don't see a real long-term plan that would show me why we need to be extended for that long term. I mean, 2027, they should be able to get something done between now and then.
You gave some reason whether or not you accept them.
Right.
Would the Walgreens site fall under the TIF
Yeah.
if it's extended, if it's already a proposed project that has yet to break ground?
I want to make sure I understand your question. Are you saying would we see new taxes on that?
No, essentially, and maybe it's the wrong format to ask. Well, I mean, yeah, it says to include the Walgreens Baptist Church site and Hubbard Furniture Building. I mean, are we trying to go along with the mayor's plan, or maybe trying to maneuver the TIF out so we can incorporate the Walgreens improvements that they, have to do for tearing down the site and making the site usable for their Walgreens facility? So I mean, since that was a program that they already had in the works, is that going to fall under the TIF extension? Or is it already in there?
It's already in. It's within the TIF, so if they extend the TIF, they would be able to add to that site or any property within the TIF through 2039 is my understanding.
So anything, the Walgreens is included.
I can understand what Melanie's saying. I mean, is there any plans that were shared with us that they're looking, that are in the forecast past
Like more
2027?
concrete plans?
I mean, is there a reason why?
Yeah, I mean, what's the
Do they have-
plan?
do we know?
For the covered furniture, I mean, I haven't.
There's
maybe-
something going in
Do you guys?
There's no concrete plans that have been presented to us to.
I think the board's just kind of saying we have difficulty understanding why there's a request for an extension when it goes out so far as it is.
2027 is a long time from now.
Right. So I guess if you could possibly get more information just to help us to clarify, because otherwise it doesn't totally make sense to us.
Okay, we will do that.
We
Okay,
didn't
and then
put
we'll
it
bring
on
it
for a
back?
vote, yes.
Yeah, thank you. And Dr. Mon, once again, you are up for the alternate revenue bond question under discussion.
I think I'll take this one.
Oh,
So, no, that's
Dr. Hitchens was
quite all right.
taking it.
The alternate bond revenue question at last month's finance meetings and the regular meeting, we talked about putting that, or it was on the August 12th special meeting that we talked about putting this question on the ballot, and the ballot question is in the agenda item that you see up there projected. And the board's role right now, I know that the purpose of them putting this on the ballot, you guys wanted to make sure that the community had a forum or a format to be able to chime in about this project, the high school expansion, the athletic facilities, but also some of the other capital projects around the district that people have been chiming in. And I know that's very important to you as a board to be able to give people an opportunity to provide that feedback. So this seemed to be a good option where people could provide their feedback in terms of a vote. So they could vote on whether or not they are interested in having you pursue $15 million in general obligation bonds to fund some of our capital projects throughout the district. So by you guys putting that on there, your role has moved from collecting that feedback to providing information. So what kind of information do you need to get out to the public so they can make an informed decision, and their decision is informing your next steps. So that's what we wanted to talk about here. What type of information do we need to, what kind of communication plan do we have to put together? What are the topics that need to be included on the FAQ document? And what are the different avenues that we should use to get information out to the public so they can get out and make a vote based on up-to-date, accurate information? So that's what I wanted to talk about. So some of the things that we already brainstormed, we have an FAQ document. I know Sue's been updating that whenever people ask questions. She's been updating it on the website, so that link you see on the website, that is a changing document. So one thing that we will put out there after tonight when we brainstorm ways to communicate, we'll put some sort of a format where people could submit questions, so those could be incorporated into any presentations that we do, or this FAQ document that you see on the website. So that's one way we're going to get information out so people can be informed. District e-news, I know Sue sends out a newsletter twice a month, and so she'll continue to link stories in that newsletter. Our meeting minutes always reflect our conversations. That's another way people could stay informed, would be to look at those meeting minutes. Then we also need to have an informational meeting, so we will plan a community meeting where we would just be available to talk about those FAQ, get the facts document that you see up there, and provide the opportunity for people to answer any questions that they may have. And this ties back into that project list. I know item 6.1 that Chris already talked about was making sure that we do have a document to be able to communicate. We're not there yet. We don't want to communicate something that the board isn't comfortable sharing. That's why we're going to take a little bit more time to make sure that that list of projects is the best that we can get. And those were the different ideas we had for the communication plan. So scheduling a forum or an evening where people can come and hear us answer the questions about the facts, and give them an opportunity to answer questions with the purpose of getting up-to-date, accurate information. So what other ideas do you guys have that we need to include in our communication?
I think one of the things that has to be spelled out or really communicated well is what this money can be used for and what the money cannot be used for. I don't want anybody just to think just because it's $15 million it can be used for everything, because it can't. It can be used for some parts of like the infrastructure and things like that, but not on possibly the educational part. And I think people have to understand there's the difference. So they can make a sound decision on how they want to go this route. So something like that I think is very important, so they understand. I don't want to get into something later on and say, well, how come you didn't do this for something in a certain building, because you couldn't use that money for that. So something of a fact sheet for that would be of an interest for me, to have this communicated that way.
Okay, so
I also just want to make sure that I'm all for our partners and get the word out, like the boosters and whatnot, but I think we have to be very careful that that everything that is out there is accurate. And so it just needs to be very controlled, I guess, I don't know if control is the right word, but it needs to be
properly.
Yeah, that nobody's creating their own document.
Needs to be very correct. Right, and controls might be the appropriate.
So I have no problem. Obviously, you can't call a ticket, but if other organizations, I mean, obviously the Booster Club has a vested interest in this, but I think we have to be very careful that they're using documents that have been run through us or communications director or somebody.
And it's not an athletic referendum.
Yes. Right. Yes. Sue and I clarified that at the BYFL meeting on Saturday, that there were only part of the money that was being dedicated to that. That certain of our overly excited coaches were enthusiastic.
All right, so you're interested in making sure that the information that other people might be communicating on our behalf, we know that our information will be accurate and up to date, but making sure that other people are using accurate and up to date information. Right.
Well, if there's something you can talk to them, that's a good thing.
And not discouraging them from passing things out, I'm just saying
Right.
we need to
Make
make
sure
sure
it's
we're keeping the lines of communication open.
We seem to be getting some emails, quite a few about this. I don't know if there's a way to draft up an email. They all seem to have the same message. And we do a great job responding, Kathy does, but maybe there's something she can attach to them because they, you know, instead of having to kind of continuously spell it out, maybe like, something can be attached to that, if that would help
If
you.
you direct them to this website.
Right, I think it's important. I think people are emailing, trying to convince you to change your minds, but you're just one vote like everybody else in the community at this point.
And clarification on that I think could be valuable. But I don't actually know if there's truly a misunderstanding or whether people just want to share their communication. But it certainly could never hurt to remind them that we are not making a recommendation, we are not advocating, we are asking the community what direction they would like us to take, and that is the entire purpose of this process. So, I'm happy to listen to your thoughts, but I'm not voting on the final vote. The people of Batavia are going to be voting on the final decision that's being made.
And that's a great message to get out because
It's also an advisory question.
it was only our choice to put it on the ballot. It's now it's up to the community.
Right.
I would like to also have that information that, Chris, that ongoing list that you're working on and going to reformat and whatnot, have that readily posted on the website and readily available in any of the materials that people might go and look at to see really what truly is the priorities of this district on our capital projects and things of that nature. So I think that'll help kind of reiterate what it is, what the purpose of this question, for the purpose of this question. But it's I think saying it in a more spelled out in a priority, because we have a strong interest in being good stewards of the tax dollar and taking care of the physical plant the 1 million square feet of physical plant that we have to house all our students under. So we need to make sure that is understood that that's a priority to us.
I mean, going from like high to medium, low.
And also that it's taking into consideration things that are going, the life cycles of things that go out for a long period of time. We're not shortchanging anything. This is like a long-term,
Solution.
it could be a long-term.
But regardless of what is decided, all of the choices we're making, all of the options we're looking at are trying to take into account that we're doing the best for the long term. The question is just, what does that look like for us as a community? What does that mean?
But I think you made a good point, it's not in our hands right now, so.
Everybody vote.
Happy to listen to comments, but it's out of our hands.
So, any other direction for Dr. Hitchens on communications? This is not your only forum for sharing that, but it's a good opportunity for us to all get together and talk about it.
I think we've done a great job so far. So, I think that's right. I mean, we were very quick to get the questions out and FAQs. So, it's all right there.
And if there's no more discussion on that, we're going to move on to the action items of our agenda tonight. The first thing, Dr. Hitchens, is the policy committee report.
I know, and bus bar representatives are here, they're probably wondering how much longer, but policy committee report probably pretty short, so a couple more minutes. The policy committee met last Wednesday, and the policy committee would like you to vote on revising policies 6210 instructional materials and 4110, or 4170, which is operational services, the safety plan. And you have already seen those policies and you did not recommend any changes, so they're bringing them back for the second reading and adoption. So that would be the one thing that the policy committee would like you to vote on this evening. The policy committee doesn't vote on anything at the committee meetings. They bring everything here for a vote. Additionally, you can look at the minutes from the policy committee meeting, but we continue to talk about the Citizens Advisory Committee, which is board direction that you give the administration for the year. It's another, it falls right along your theme of wanting to hear from the community. So the policy committee has picked the topic for this year, and you can see it in that attached document, what our focus questions will be for the year. Eventually, in January, we would have a forum where the Citizens Advisory Committee would come and discuss the topic and hope to come to some answers to those essential questions that you see listed in that document. The committee also, we talked about the academic calendar. Every year the board would need to submit a calendar to the Regional Office of Education and the State Board. And so we wanted to try out an administrative procedure. Eventually this will turn into administrative procedure, but this year the timeline that we will follow, October would be collecting feedback. We'll be collecting feedback from a few different of our partners in education, a couple different groups, and we will take that feedback and create next year's draft calendar. You'll see that for the first time in November and vote on it in December. And hopefully that's a cycle that that works for us and that we can continue every year. We'll also have some time in there to share it with our neighboring districts and get some feedback from them, and maybe we could all align when we adopt our calendars together. And then the last thing we talked about at the policy committee meeting was advertisements. We're in the process of developing a procedure for advertisements throughout the district that you would see on a scoreboard or on an athletic fence out in the fields or in a program or in the student newspaper. So we're collecting feedback from the board about what that policy might look like, and we don't have it drafted yet. We continue to work on it and take our time, make sure it meets our needs, and you'll see a draft of that in September. That was the policy committee meeting in a nutshell.
Any questions on what Dr. Himpson just presented? If not, then I would entertain a motion to approve policy 6-10 instructional materials and policy 4-170 operational services.
So moved.
Moved by Gaspar, second by Locke. Kathy, would you call the roll?
Blakely,
Yes.
Gaspar,
Yes.
Hodge,
Yes.
Impastato,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Stoops,
Yes.
Dremel.
Yes. Item 7.2 under action tonight is the approval of the negotiated agreement with the Batavia Educational Support Professional Association. Dr. Mack?
This one's me, yes. We are pleased to bring you tonight a 4-year agreement with BESPA, as you said, the Batavia Educational Support Professionals Association. We reached tentative agreement with them earlier in the month, but through board meeting timings and then their ratification procedures, we're not able to bring it to you for approval until tonight. BESPA met for ratification on the evening of August 13th, and their members ratified it with a vote of 61-19. You can see some of the details of the agreement in board docs, and there is a hard copy, a draft hard copy at the board table there in front of Dr. Hitchens. We are still finalizing a couple of grammatical areas. As we've discussed before, there's a couple of edits that are non-substantive, just getting a couple of numbers out of certain areas and renumbering certain sections of the contract, but all of the terms of the agreement are agreed to by both parties and have been ratified by BESPA. So we would ask for your approval of this contract. I know in the audience that they made it in a little bit late, but we have Ms. Cindy Kane, Ms. Sue Carpenter, and Mr. Tim Beckers, 3 of the negotiating team members from BESPA. We did list the whole team in board docs. I want to say there was another member of their team until right about the beginning of August. Ms. Wren Roberts was a member, but she actually obtained a teaching position, so she was no longer in the bargaining unit by the time we ratified, but thanks to Ms. Roberts for her contributions. And we would look for your approval.
And we didn't have a discussion in closed session regarding the details of this contract, so if there's no further discussion needed, I would entertain a motion to approve the negotiated agreement with BESPA.
I move for approval of the BESPA agreement.
Second.
Moved by Hodge, second by Stoops. Kathy, would you call the roll?
Blakely,
Yes.
Gaspar,
Yes.
Hodge,
Yes.
Impastato,
Yes.
Locke,
Yes.
Stoops,
Yes.
Dremel.
Yes. process. I'm always pleased to sit in on that and see how that works and the way we come together. And I appreciated the hard work you guys did, and it's always a nice chance to.
Thank you very much. We appreciate all your hard work as well.
All right, so now we'll move on to administration comments.
The theme for this year, when we met with the faculty, the whole staff, we talked about something that the staff does very well and all of us in this district, and that's making connections. And I think that we see that tonight through the Hall of Honor. Thank you very much for Joanne and Leanne for coming up with that great idea. I think the school community has so much to be proud of, and it's amazing that we've been such a district full of history for all of these years without documenting it at the high school, and give it's a great way to give students a connection to the past and to help the alum feel connected to the school. And really, these people will be great role models that we nominate. Not all of them will make it to the wall the first year. We're going to have a tough time as a committee narrowing it down to 8 alum and 2 staff members and 2 friends of Batavia. But I can't say enough how excited I am about this project. It's going to be a great celebration of the district. I know Sue's been doing a great job communicating, helping the parents in the community feel connected, and I know she has a plan where she's sending out a district newsletter that just really highlights all of the stories. She's busy writing stories about their district all the time. And so she sends out a newsletter twice a month that will have board highlights in it and other stories that she's written. And so people can click into those different stories. And then every principal is sending once a week. We've now tweaked it so everybody, so that the principals are doing it on a different day than Sue. So the principals once a week with the parents, and Sue twice a month with board business and all the great things that are happening in the district. And thank you to the board for connecting with the public in the way that you do. You chose to put that advisory question on the ballot, and I know that shows your dedication to hearing from the public, and Citizen Advisory Committee, same thing. You guys are really take their feedback seriously and spend a lot of time. Kathy spends a lot of time answering emails from people, and I know you guys are always talking with the community out in the public, and thank you for doing it. And those are my comments.
Thanks, Lisa. We'll start down with Melanie tonight.
I just wanted to say that I thought Dr. Hitchens did an excellent job at her opening meeting, and then we're making connections theme. I think that the principals are doing a very nice job of weaving it into their letters to the parents, and even the teachers are weaving it in. I thought that it's done, the theme was really moving its way all the way down to the students, so I was quite impressed with that. And I also would like to say that we've been in the district now as a family for 10 years, and each year that we step up to a new school, this year we stepped up to the high school. I continue to be utterly impressed with every facility and the administration and the teachers of every facility. I always tell people I was so nervous to go to Rotobo, and I love Rotobo, and I can now say that I love the high school. So thank you to everyone who has made all of our transitions so wonderful.
I just wanted to welcome back all the students and educators and support staff. Looking forward to a great year here in Batavia. I wanted to congratulate BESPA on the contract and everything. I know there were a lot of long hours and hard work on both sides, so congratulations on that. It's great to hear about the Hall of Honor. I think it's great to be able to raise up our own citizenry, because we have done great things here in our community. And looking forward to the first football game on Friday. Go Bulldogs.
I also wanted to congratulate BESPA on the new contract, thank everyone that was involved in the negotiations, Kathy and Greg, the team, senior management, and all of the BESPA partners that were on the team. I can't even imagine doing what you guys did, so thank you for that. I would like to welcome all students back to school, all the teachers. I would like to especially welcome all new families into our district, and I would like to welcome all new teachers into our district. I'm glad you chose Batavia. I hope you enjoy it here, and we welcome you. I would also like to say that I spent the first day of school at the high school handing out Chromebooks, and I had a wonderful time. And I've had great positive feedback already from students and teachers. They're enjoying your Chromebooks, and so far shared an experience from high school already with Tony, and getting some great feedback. Kids are having a great time with that, and the teachers too. John, all of a sudden, sorry. Got my little list. Went to the corn boil last weekend, had a great time, saw some board members, staff there, it was very good. Hope everyone had a great time. And I guess I'll leave it at that. Go Dogs, see you Friday at the football game. Thanks, here. Greg?
Sam and Jay took off, but I wanted to welcome them back and wish them good luck and thank them for their role as student ambassadors. We do value their insight and their opinion and the information that they bring to us. I'm really excited about the Hall of Honor. I was absolutely humbled to be asked to be on this committee, and the people that are on it are just phenomenal. It's been a great experience. Truly one of the coolest things I've got to do as a board member is being on this board. And I want to thank Ann and Joanne for being the drivers behind this team and the foundation for their support and initiating this venture. As a alum of Batavia, it gives me goosebumps to sit every time in this meeting and talk about this. I was kind of dumbfounded that I found out that we didn't have anything like this. And then what was neat to hear all in the research that we did in the background, and I don't have a limit on this, but it's something personal, how many schools around have this and we hadn't. And so it was nice to also utilize that information, that background, to kind of see where we wanted to go and how we wanted to set the stage for this. So I'm truly excited. You'll hear me talk about it a lot, and too bad you can hear about it. Thank you again for everything you've done. Congratulations to the best of the team and your entire crew. I thank you for everything you do and the support that you do this district is priceless. And I truly mean that. And congratulations to the BEA and TA and that. Good luck tomorrow night, and look forward to continued collaborative efforts with both of those teams. Congratulations to Ben Henya. I want to name right. Henya. Overwhelming. That's just amazing. I mean, it's just to be in his presence is great. I expect great things out of that guy. He probably will be in the Hall of Honor at some point as well. Got to wait 15 years. And then I wanted to point out, I sent out a copy of an article that I was reading. I don't have it in front of me, but I hope I shared it with everybody about the actually the Tri-Cities and how we rank and in the top. I can't remember the whole premise of the article in the state.
We did very well on our ACTs.
Very well on our ACTs. So congratulations to them, and continue to keep up the great work. It's nice to see positive spins that come out of our people of the press and about our school district. So I'm done.
Thanks, Greg. Tina? Just welcome everybody back and have a great year, and I share all my board members' congratulations and sentiments.
I think you guys all took everything I had on my notes.
That's impossible.
I will say, just to recap a few things, I wanted to welcome everyone back. One thing that is important is I did have on my notes here that to always thank the individuals that send emails or talk to me out at Panera or wherever, and I get different viewpoints all the time, and so that's one thing that I have to weigh on how I make a decision, and I think this referendum is a good way about going that route. That'll help us. If it comes out 50-50, then that really then puts the burden on us, but at least we have an understanding. If it comes out 40-60, 70-30, one way or the other, then we know. Yes, we've all been elected by however we got elected and so on, but it you know, for what we stand for, but when you hear different viewpoints and you try to weigh everything, it is very challenging at times, because I try to sit at, and right now I do not have a child in the schools anymore, so I don't have anybody in the system. I believe, and Greg, I think, is the only other one on the 7 of us. So, but that's not going to change how I process things or how I think things, because I still value education, and I think it's a vital point. So with that said, I do value everybody's viewpoint, if I agree with it, if I don't agree with it, and so on, but I hear it both sides, and that's what I have to weigh on. I always want to thank everybody here at RJAC for all the hard work you guys do and for getting us the information when it's requested. Sometimes it's on a timely fashion for me, and sometimes I get you at a last minute type thing, so I apologize for that. I wanted to welcome Sam. BESPA, congratulations. I'm glad you guys got a system now going with your whole group, and hopefully everything works out. I wanted to welcome, for other people around, Gina and Chris, who's the new, I'm the liaison to Hoover Woods School, and we have brand new principal and assistant principal there. And so I'm hoping that they have a good year. I've had a chance to stop in there just once so far, so keep that up. And the Hall of Honor, I think it's a great thing. Greg has mentioned it before, surprised that it wasn't around where I came from, just down the river here. We have an alumni one, and we have a sports one, and a few others. So I'm looking for the best for all that, and just thank you, everybody, and quit stealing my notes from now on.
Well, I certainly could not stop the enthusiasm and the warmth of my fellow board members, so I won't even try. Although I would like to say, after we adjourn, I don't know that all of our BESPA friends have met all of our board members, so I would like to invite you after we adjourn I will introduce you to everyone, just so that we can all put a name with a face. So that saying, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gaspar, second by Impastato. Kathy, would you please call the roll?
Blakely?
Yep.
Gaspar?
Yes.
Hodge?
Yes.
Impastato?
Yes.
Locke?
Yes.
Stoops?
Yes.
Dremmel?
Yes, we are adjourned.
This is.